Hello everyone, welcome, John here. Today's video is going to be all about basic web scraping. The website we're going to be scraping is books.toscrape.com. Now this is a website that is designed and set up for you to practice your web scraping on, so it's a really good resource to use. And the thing that we're going to do is we're going to try and scrape all the information for the books from the website. To do that, we're going to be using requests and Beautiful Soup, and we're going to get the individual book information. And then at the end, we're going to talk about a way to manage pagination, the different pages on the website. So this is the website and how it looks. It's sort of a standard shop style website. So this is actually quite useful and could be really relatable to a real world example for you, which is why it's good to go through. So we can see here that we've got 1,000 results and we're showing 1 to 20 on a page. The information we want to get is the title of the book, the price, and whether it's in stock or not. So to do that, the first thing that I would always do is to look at the source of the web page. You can do that by right-click and view source or inspect element. Inspect element is quite useful because it will highlight and you can see where everything is. So if we highlight this, we can see that all the information that we want for this book and each of the books is in this here, which is quite small, you might not be able to see, but it's an article of class product pod. All the information we want for each of the books is stored in there. So if we go to the source and then search for the article class of product pod, we can see that we've got it here, and inside here is the information. So we're going to need to use requests to get this information from this website, this web page, and then use Beautiful Soup to parse it. So let's start with that. The first thing we need to do is import what we need, so import requests, and from BS4, let's put that here, from BS4 import Beautiful Soup. Okay, great. The next thing we want to do is set our URL. So our URL is equal to this, put that in there. And now we need to send requests off and get that information for us. The standard way to do this is r is equal to requests.get and then put our URL in. If we want to check that what we're doing is working so far, a good way to do that is to print out the status code of the HTTP response that you get from requests. If it's 200, we know that we're working fine, and the other ones will be able to tell us if anything's gone wrong. So we would want to do r.status code, just like that, and we should get here a 200 response, which we do, so we know that this is all working. If we wanted to see what we were actually getting back, you can print the text of the response itself, and in our case this is all the HTML of that page that we've just clicked onto here. So from this HTML response, we need to be able to get out the bits that we looked at earlier, which was the article of the class product pod. Now to do that, we want to push this through Beautiful Soup. So the standard way to do that is soup is equal to Beautiful Soup, and then it is r.text. And again, let's check that we've done that right and print out our soup, and we should get all of the HTML still. That's great. Now, Beautiful Soup has a few ways to search through the HTML elements, and the main ones we're going to use is find and find all. So if we remember that it was in the article class product pod, what we would want to do is define our variable, and we're going to call it article, and we're going to do soup.find all and pass in the article that we were looking for, which is this one here, and the class, which is product pod. Now you can't just type class like this because that is built into Python, so the Beautiful Soup way of doing it is class with an underscore underneath it. Okay, so what this is doing is it's searching within our soup, which is here, which we got from requests, for an article with a class of product pod. So if we were to print out our article now, we will get back the HTML that is inside each and every article in that HTML. So we narrowed it down a bit. So to get the individual book information through that, we need to loop through each one of those articles that it finds in the HTML and extract that information for us. To do that, we're going to use a for loop. So we do for book in article, and we want to get out the title information. So let's do title is equal to book.find, because we're storing that information in this variable here, which is why it's book, and we're going to use find and not find all in this case, because we won't be able to get the information out for each specific one. And if we look back to our web page here, the title is actually stored in an A tag for the href, and it's in the title part. If we were to pull this bit out, we wouldn't actually get the full title of the book, so we're going to get it from here instead. To get this part out, the title, we can simply do book.find and then A, because it's in an A tag, and then we need to use an index. So if we look back here, the first A tag is actually this one, so we don't want that, we want the second one. Now in Python it's a 0 index, so the second one would actually be 1. And then from that we want the information that is in the title. This is here. So we have gone the A tag, so we've searched within here into the A tags, and we wanted the second A tag, and because it's a 0 we need to search for number 1, and then the title, which is this bit here. So hopefully if we go and print our title now, we should get the names of all the books. So we didn't, because I got a key error, which means I've done something wrong. Let's work it out real quick. Here we go. We need to find all. We can't do find, that won't work. We need to do find all. There we go. We got all the names. So we've got the first 20 names from each from that page, and we've got all the titles here. So that's great. So the next bit of information that we wanted to get is the price. And if we look here, the price is in a p tag with a class of price color. So to get that out, we need to do go back to here, and we need to do price, and we can do equal to book dot find. Now we can use find on this one, because even though this is the second p and there are more p's, it's got a unique class, so we can reference this unique class to get this information. So we can do find, and like we did up here with article, p and then class, which is equal to price color, like that, and that should get us that information. So now if we do print price like that, we should get this. Great, so we've got a list of all of the p tags with the prices in, but this isn't actually that useful to us, so we want to be able to get just the text information from this. To do that, we can simply put .text on the end, and that should give us the text information. There we go. Now for some reason it gives us this extra character at the front, and also working with money and whatnot, it's quite useful just to get the integer and not the text at the front. So the way I do that is just slicing the two characters off the front. Now you can see by looking through this, we've got a consistent 2 characters. To get rid of the first two characters and only store the number in our price variable, we can add on the end here our indexer and slice off, if I can do the right thing, slice off the first 2. So that just basically says from the second character onwards. And you can see there we've got just these. So that's great. That's much more useful for us if we were doing any kind of analysis or anything like that. It's much easier to use. So the third bit of information we wanted was the in-stock value. So if we call in-stock, and let's find where that was. So that is, again, is in a P, and it's inside in-stock availability class under a P tag. So let's go back, and we can do book. And because we know the class, we can find it specifically, and we know it's on its own and not multiple. So we can do that again, and class, and then equal to in stock availability. So let's see what that brings out when we get this. If we print our in stock value, we should get, again, everything within the p tags. So what happens if we run .text on this again? We should get just the text value, right? Well, actually no, because the text is actually surrounded by a load of white space. So we need to get rid of the white space because this is no good to us. And to do that, we can simply call strip at the end. And strip will get rid of all of the white space that is not necessary. And it's a method, so you need to have the double brackets. So if we run that again, there we go, got a list. Now all the books just so happen to be in stock, which is why the value's all the same. So to store this information, we're going to want to put it in some kind of list. So that's what we're going to do. So before our loop, we're going to create ourselves a blank list, which I'm going to call book list. There we go, nice and imaginative. There we go, that's our blank list. Now we can't just put all of this information straight into a list because it won't mean anything. So we need to create each individual book and save the information and then save that book to the book list. To do that, I'm going to create a dictionary with this three information in it here. So let's call that books, and we'll create our dictionary here, and we'll have the first key is going to be title, and that's going to be the title. The second key will be the price. And the third key in stock. Oops. In stock like that, and we will call it in stock. Great. So now we create each individual instance for the book. In here, what we can do is we can append this to our list. So if we do book list dot append books like that. And if after we've done all of that, if we print out our book list, we should hopefully get, there we go, each individual book is stored inside our list with the title, the price, and whether it's in stock or not. And we could index every single one of those if we wanted to get the individual information. There we go. So if you haven't noticed, we're getting this warning every time we run our script, sorry. And that's because I haven't specified a specific parser to use. It's using the default one, but to stop this information from happening, when you do your soup is equal to, if you put in an extra argument and parser, oops, sorry, that's right, it's this HTML.parser. That will get rid of the error. There we go. Okay, so now we can loop through, we can get the first 20 books, and we can get the information. So we've successfully got the information for each book on that page. If we look at this here, we've got 1,000 products, and we've only been able to get the first 20. So how are we going to be able to deal with the pages? So if we see down here, it's page 1 of 50. So if we click to the next page, you can see here that we've got a URL which says /catalog/page2. This has the next 20 books. So if we change this back to 1, do we get the first page? We do. So we need to change our code slightly to be able to loop through all 50 pages and get all the information out. So to do that, I'm going to copy this URL and we're going to use that instead. And we're going to change our script slightly. So we know that this part here will get us all the book information from this URL. So if we were to change our URL to the catalog one with the page 1, we should get exactly the same information. And we do. Let's just move this down a bit so we don't, there we go. So what do we want to do and how are we going to get the rest of the book information? Well, we know that this bit works. So if we put this inside a loop and change the page number for 1 to 50 times, we'll get each and every page and all of the books, and we can add all of those to the list as well, and then get all the information out. So to do that, I'm going to use a range loop. So we could do, okay, let's move our book list up to the top because we're going to need this information here. So we're going to want to change the URL every time, so that will also need to go into our loop. So I'm going to do for x in range. Now this possibly isn't the best way to do this, but it does work, and it's part of learning and part of understanding and getting the information is solving the problems that are in front of you. And because we know that there are 1,000 results here and there are 50 pages, this will work just fine. So we can do for range 1 to 50, and then if we indent all of this, which we know that works like that, and we need to then use an F string here, and we can put in our brackets like that. So I'll just explain. Oh, missed that. So what this is an F string, which means that in here it will take the value of x and put that in as the page. Now we know that there's 50 pages, so it will loop through page 1, 2, 3 all the way up to 50 by putting the number in here. And then because we already did our script down here, we know that that's going to add all the information to our book list. So if we run that, let's see what happens. See, well, we think something's happening because the script hasn't stopped. Now, there we go, it worked. Now that does work. However, I like to have a little check in place to see what it's actually doing. So it's quite useful to be able to put a little print statement in beforehand, and we can do print x like that. And what that will do is that every time it loops through it, it will print us a number out, so we know it's working. There we go, all the way up through the pages up to 50, and we've still got our print statement for book list 1 at the end, so we know that something's coming out. A good way to check that we're getting all the results here is we could actually just print out the length of this book list, and we know that we're supposed to have 1,000 books. So if we put length of the book list in here and run it again all the way up through the pages, we should get the number 1,000 out. So we got 980. So why did we only get 980? Well, we're missing a page, and that is because we're doing the range from 1 to 50, which doesn't include 50. So we need to do 1 to 51, and that would get us the 1,000 books. We'll just run it again real quick, and we should end up with 1,000. There we go. So what we've done is we've looped through every single page in the URL by finding the URL that has the page number in, using an F string to put x, which we're calculating by going through the numbers 1 to 51, not including 51, 1 to 50, putting that page number in here, then using that as the URL to get, passing our information through Beautiful Soup, finding the articles, and then looping through each and every one to get the book information while storing it in our dictionary and then adding that to a list. Okay, so I think that'll do it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you find it useful in some way. Let me know if you've got any questions, or if you think anything I need to cover to make it more straightforward or easier. Go ahead and get your own version of this script up and try different websites, or try the same one, or try getting different information. Perhaps maybe using the book categories here and going through and getting each and one of those, and see where you get to. All right, cheers, thanks.